Hi everyone, my name is Mary Nanjala Kilobi. I'm a news anchor as well as a reporter with KTN and KTN News. You're watching the other side of me at the current Country Lodge. My best country is the US because I love to shop, so I get to find the things I want over there. My dream destination is Italy because I've had all these interesting stories of how it's beautiful. So that's where I want to go next, hopefully by the end of this year. I love gospel music. I listen, let me say 70% of my time I listen to gospel music. The other 30 I listen to reggae music. Yeah, I know people go like, you're a reggae fan, how? But I love reggae so much because reggae music makes a lot of sense. I'm very traditional, so I love ugali and traditional vegetables. So when my friends visit, always they're asking, where are those machakula ambayo unapenda? So I have a friend who keeps saying masukuma. My most annoying habits that people say, I think, is sleeping. I love to sleep. So you may find someone wants to call me and tell me something in the morning. And then for me, my 9 a.m., my 10 a.m. is like my 3 a.m. So you better call me when it's very important because you don't just wake me up to say you just called to say hi. So I think it annoys some people, but I enjoy my sleep. When I was growing up, I kept saying, because I remember when I was 7, and they keep telling me, I don't know, I remember that age 7, because they used to ask me, how old are you? 7, what do you want to be? A lawyer? I didn't know anything about law, but I grew up even after Form 4. I kept saying I want to be a lawyer, but when I went for my A-levels, that changed. I now wanted to be a teacher, surprisingly, and also maybe in the media. So I kept thinking, if I'm not teaching, I'll be in the media. But I didn't know much about the media. So mostly it was teaching as well. And I loved listening to news and also watching news. That's something I always did religiously. I didn't all end up there. So after I went to university, then they gave me Bachelor of Arts, Literature, Gender Studies, and Kiswahili. That's when it started shaping my career. Then I said, I will either be a teacher or do news, be a journalist. Then I ended up in the newsroom. Yeah, I don't regret. When me and my siblings were growing up, we used to enjoy our dad carrying us to bed. And then because I'm a second born, I became, mostly when you're a second born, you have to behave like a grown-up. And then even up to 10 years, I would still pretend to be sleeping on the couch. And then my dad will carry us. So if you're not sleeping, they ask you to go to sleep. But if you lie on the couch, they carry you to bed. So up to today, we still talk about that. When we were young, how we used to pretend to be asleep just to be carried. So I really value that. And that has really enhanced my relationship with my dad. I really love my dad because of that. My happiest moment in my life was when I was leaving Uganda to come to Kenya. The day they called me and told me you're joining KTN, I remember just screamed. I haven't done that on any other thing because I've been happy before, but that made me very, very happy. So it's memorable because I had been there for a very long time. I didn't know how I would come back home, but then when I was told I was coming back home, I was very happy. So I still remember that day and feel very nice about it. The saddest moment of my life is when I lost my baby. I was maybe 15 weeks pregnant. Then I lost the baby. It was very sad. But when I look back today, I'm not sad about it. It's not a memory that has gone a long way with me because so much has happened. And I'm grateful to God that it happened because I'm happier. If I could change, it's some guy I ever dated in life. I keep thinking, oh my God, how did I meet this one? So if I had to go back like maybe some few years, I would never date that kind of a person. That's something I sit and I'm like, did I ever date this man? What was I doing? Where was I looking? What was wrong with me? That's one regret I think I have in life. And I'm not unhappy about it. But if I look back and there's something I can say, if I'm given a chance, I will not do it again, is that. The biggest change in my life today, like everyone will want to hear, is I'm getting married. And this man is called Francis Atwoli. I know people have talked about it so much, others are surprised, people are shocked, they're like, how? This is one man I knew back in 2005 when I was in Uganda. He came for an interview in UBC, and being a guy from home, I didn't know who he was. You know how you just get, whenever we meet people from Kenya, we'll be so excited. Oh, there's someone who has come from Kenya, come and say hello. So I came and said hello, and we just got in touch. So when I came back to Kenya in 2011, maybe we'll talk like once even in a year. Like just, how are you? I'm doing very well, and that's it. So when I came back to Kenya, I called him and told him, oh, by the way, I'm back in Kenya. And then I went to see him, I saw him. And then we've been in touch for a very long time. And then we would go separate ways, he does his things, but we'll be very in touch. He's a very close family friend. So he will come home whenever he's home and he's coming to Bungoma to do anything. And then me, I was in a relationship with this person I thought I wanted to get married to. So when I changed my mind with that person, and then he had someone else in his life and they fell apart, and then he was like, I need someone in my life, Mary. I can't live alone, because he has a wife who's home. Then he's like, Mary, I can't live in Nairobi alone, and you know, I'm growing older, my wife is a little older, and then I just need help, you know. And then because we are very good friends, that's one thing. Anyone who has been close to us will know that Mary and this guy are very inseparable. The shock that we've given them is that we're getting married. That's something they never expected. Even me, before, when he told me, because he said, Mary, I don't want to be your boyfriend or anything that is not marriage. If you're not ready, it's okay. But if you get ready and you feel like you're ready, let me know. Of course, I was not bothered at that time. When I reached a point, I'm like, I've dated young people, and like I've just talked about one that I regret so much. And I felt like he treated me so well. He respects me, because we respect each other. And then he shows me genuine love. If people doubt that there's love, people who have hung around me believe that there's love, and he loves me. And being his status, some people would be like, oh, it's his money. I refused to be with him on several occasions before, but I knew. When I came to Kenya, that's when I realized, oh, this guy is rich. As in Uganda, I didn't know, but we're still very good friends. So some people will be like, oh, it's about his money. It's not about his money. I've met people with money before, and I know some people who have a lot of money don't respect people because they think their money speaks for them and the money can get them anyone they want. He knows it's not his money, because even when he had money before, I told him no. So he knows it is not his money, and even me, it's not about his money. Money is, of course, an added advantage. No one wants to live a life that is you're not sure about your future. It is always very nice when you know that your future is secured. That one, if I said it's not, if we totally leave out the money factor, then we will be lying. All of us are working because we're looking for money to secure our future. So it is just an added advantage that the comfort comes with the love. So much has changed. I'm not able to catch up with my friends the way I used to. You don't just wake up and go to a place. Like I loved going to the US every August. Now this time he says you're not going anywhere. You know, you need to realize that your life has changed, not just the way you used to do. Oh, in July I used to go to Europe, so I have to go in August. There's nothing like that. So you sit and agree. There are a few times you'll say, no, you can't go here. And then just to make me realize, because he keeps saying, when you find someone who is, I'm 34, who has been living alone for 34 years, there are things they're just used to doing their way. So it's not easy to change them. So he keeps reminding me, you just have to adjust a little bit. There are things I want to do on my own, and I realize that I have help around me. I need just to sit and enjoy. But I'm used to running around and doing all these things, and then there are people who are always there at me. Madam, how are you? How can I help you? There's breakfast. What do you want to have? I was not used to that kind of a life. And then a few times someone will chauffeur you. I'm used to, and I still enjoy driving myself. That one I want to stick to that. I just want to just enjoy doing that. So much has changed. I'm an author. I've written a book. I wrote that book back in Uganda when I just started working at UBC, Uganda Broadcasting Corporation. We used to have a program of teaching Swahili. It used to be called actually Jifunze Kiswahili. That's where I got the title for my book. And because people don't speak a lot of Kiswahili in Uganda, maybe 60% now, people are trying. But I used to have a program of 5 minutes, 5 to 6, teaching them the basics A spoon is kijiko, then a cup is kikombe, and they used to laugh because people don't like complicated things when they're learning a new language. So I did that for like 2 years, and then people used to say, oh, the timings, I can't make it by that time, I won't be home, I'll be stuck in jam. Why can't you just come up with a book so that we can buy, and then we can always catch up with the lessons? So that's where I got my inspiration. So I wrote that book, and it sold very well. That time I was there, because first when I was writing, I was not thinking about the money, but I got some good money out of it because I was selling in all the leading bookstores in Kampala, and then some few places out of Kampala, in Rwanda and Congo. So people just used to call me, we want books, we want books. I would sell in big supermarkets, and then you can take there like maybe 200 copies, then in a week they're done. So it was a good idea. But when I came to Kenya, because I used to supply the books myself, because I knew if you allow people to do that for you, then they will be doing the business for you and they'll be selling out the books. So I used to tell wherever I will take my books, I deliver the books myself. So that's how I was able to control. But when I left, I really did not have someone that would continue doing that for me, so I stopped. But I plan to do another one. And the thing I've learned about if someone wants to learn a language, don't make it complicated. They won't buy the book. People don't have time to sit and read all those things. Just basic, then people will buy. Yes, I'm thinking, but I'm not in the process. I haven't started, but I think it's a good idea. I think when I went back to school to do my master's, it was very crazy, and I kind of started disliking reading because I used to read by force because of work, and working on Mombasa Road and coming to UN for classes in the evening. And that time I was doing 4 o'clock mostly. It was hectic and I hated reading. I would read for exams, and then after that I said, sishiki kitabu tena. So from there I think I slowed down a bit, but I think it's in me that I love Swahili so much. I would just want to write, not something like a storybook, but I can write just a teaching aid to just help people, like visitors who are coming to Kenya and they just want to learn basic Swahili. I would help them. And my heart is also still in Uganda. I would love Ugandans to know more Swahili for the sake of the East African integration, so that they're not left out completely. So I would want to, when I come up with a way of ensuring that people don't now make more copies and sell them on my behalf, I will write. So when I was growing up in primary, especially, I loved Swahili. And I think the biggest contributing factor is that my Swahili teacher really loved me. And that encouraged me to love his subject. When I got to class 8, I used to be the best. So he used to, everything like reading, Mary, Mary, everything, Mary, Mary. So I really loved Swahili. Even when I went to high school, Mrs. Mteheli also loved me very much. So it's like, it's the teachers and the subject. So that's how I just grew learning Swahili. When I went to Uganda, I still did it for my A level, and I still did Swahili at the university level. Yeah, so I just love Swahili, and people would ask me, how come you speak Swahili this fluently, and yet you've lived your better part of your life in Uganda, where they don't speak good Swahili, and worse still, you come from Bungoma, where people have problems with speaking proper Swahili. I say sometimes I don't have a good answer for that. I say it's God. God knew that that's how my life is destined to be, so he ensured that my Swahili is good. The one phrase or the one word that keeps being misused, especially in Uganda, like I used to teach them Swahili, like mwizi is a thief. So you teach them and tell them mwizi is a thief. But then in Uganda, mwizi is a student. So they just use like, uyu mwizi, and I'm meaning a student, and me I'm thinking they're calling everyone who comes around a thief. So I used to have a hard time trying to remind them mwizi. So they hear I'm saying mwizi. They go like, why are you calling that person mwizi? I'm like, mwizi is a thief. Why are you calling that student mwizi? What have they stolen? Yeah, so that's one, and many others I used to come across. The advice I would give to my younger self is choices have consequences. Whatever choice you make in life, it has consequences, whether good or bad. So before you make any choice, you have to think about the consequences. I've made choices in my life, and some of them, like I told you, I would look back and I'm like, what was I thinking? And up to today now, whatever decision I make, I think about it very seriously. And it doesn't matter what people think. If I've thought about it and I've decided this is a choice I've made and I want to live with, then I'm glad, because I know it has a consequence, good or bad. I'm one person who has always said I don't want to be in the media for too long. One thing I don't enjoy is publicity. I'm not that kind of person who seeks attention and wants to be. So I don't mind really just working somewhere behind the scenes. And that's why I went back to school to do my master's in international studies. I really admired being a diplomat. Although now it has changed a bit, because I wanted to just like represent Kenya out there, but now it looks like where I'm standing, I can't really go and live in UK as an ambassador. But I still really love diplomacy. I can still represent Kenya here, because there are those ambassadors who are representing Kenya in various ways, like in the UN and all that, who are here in charge of counterterrorism and all those things. So I love diplomacy in terms of just like bringing people together in peace. So I'll still want to go that direction. I appreciate being in the media, but I'm always thinking by 40, I should not be in the media. That can come sooner anyway. And also, I love doing business, because if you want to being employed has its own limitations. You may not be able to do exactly everything you want to do. You may today want to go somewhere, travel, you can't. But being self-employed, you always plan your time. So it's one thing that I'm thinking about. You have your time, you have your challenges, yes, but I'm thinking about self-employment. Asante sana for watching The Other Side of Me at the Karen Country Lodge. Thank you very much for watching The Other Side of Me. We're here at the Karen Country Lodge. I'm telling you, Meg has laughed the loudest.